Okay, we're working on polynomial division, and in class we went really fast through this because we're kind of pressed for time, so I wanted to go through another example of this a little bit more slowly so that we could really kind of make sure you get it. So for this one, we're dividing 2x to the fourth plus 3x cubed minus 4x squared plus 16x, 16x plus 32. And we're dividing that whole thing by x plus 2, because we want to see if x plus 2 is a factor of this. So we're looking at this. Now, if you look at x plus 2 and you look at these first two terms, we don't really know. I mean, this whole 2 is kind of throwing us off. It's kind of cumbersome. We really don't know what to do with that. So rather than look at x plus 2, our first step is just going to be to look at the first terms. And by first terms, we mean this x. Let me highlight this with, let me make this yellow so it's real easy to see. We're looking at this x right here, and we're looking at the first of these two, so this 2x to the fourth. What we're going to do is we're going to go, okay, well, let's see, 2x to the fourth divided by x. We want to know how many times x goes into 2x to the fourth. Well, this is the same thing as 2 times x, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 x's, and then we have 1 x in the bottom. So one of these x's out of the top is going to cancel, and what we're left with is 2x to the third. So 2x to the third is what we're going to put up top. So it goes in 2x to the third times. So then what we're going to do, just like we used to a long time ago in regular numbers, you take this top number and you're going to multiply it by both of these. So you go, okay, 2x cubed times x, that gives us 2x to the fourth. And then 2x cubed times 2, well, 2 times 2 is 4, so we put a 4 right here. And then our x cubed stays the same. Okay, so we did that. That's all good. We're happy with that. But now we're going to do, just like we used to a long time ago with numbers, we're going to do this. We're going to subtract. And we're going to subtract, let me change colors. I'm going to do this in blue so it's contrasting. We're going to subtract, but we're subtracting this whole thing. So this subtraction thing is going to distribute. So we're going to have a negative here, and your sign is going to change here. So 2x to the fourth minus 2x to the fourth, those cancel out. You have 0x to the fourth. Then you have 3x to the third minus 4x to the third. That gives us negative 1x to the third. You don't need that one, but I'm going to put it there just to kind of remind us that that's what we have. Okay, so now I'm going to erase this 0x to the fourth because we don't need that anymore. And okay, so now we're going to do just like we used to a long time ago, and we're going to bring this next term down. So we have negative 4x squared. So let's see, I'm behind on my steps over here. So first step was compare first terms. We did that. So then our next step was multiply. So we multiply what we got by what we were dividing by. So we multiplied the 2x cubed by the x and by the plus 2. After that, we subtracted. Let's see, maybe I should let me put that in blue. That way it kind of corresponds to what we did. Okay, so this was subtracted. And then step 4, you're going to bring down your next term. If you had two things that canceled out, you would bring down your next two terms. And then after that, like starting with step 5, we're basically just going to repeat steps 1 through 4. So repeat steps 1 through 4. Except I think the song is repeat steps 1 through 3, but that's okay. We're going to repeat our steps, and we're going to keep doing that over and over until we run out of terms. So until run out of space. No, that's what I'm doing. Okay, until we run out of numbers. Yay! I should move this over so we can read this. There we go. That's better. Okay, so we brought this down. So now if we're going to repeat, that means like step 1 was to compare the first term. So we have our x up here. Now we're going to compare it to this negative x to the third. Okay, so we go down here. Let's see. So we say, let me change back to yellow here. I'm going to do this down in the bottom corner. So we have negative x to the third divided by x, basically. Well, so one of your x's is going to cancel out of the top. You're going to end up with negative x squared. So then that's what we put up at the top. So we go negative x squared. Now our next step said we got to multiply again. So we have negative x squared times x gives us negative x to the third. Negative x squared times 2 gives us minus 2x squared. We draw our little line. Hooray! Now we're going to subtract, but remember we're subtracting both of them, not just the first term. So if we subtract both of them, that means that we distribute this negative here, so let's make this a positive instead. This turns positive, that turns positive, because minus a minus is plus. So negative x to the third plus x to the third, that cancels out, gives us 0x to the third, which is good. That's what we wanted. The whole point of comparing our first terms is we're trying to figure out what will make it cancel. So this is good that we got a 0. Now we have negative 4 plus 2, that gives us negative 2x squared. Now I'm going to erase my 0x to the third because I don't need that, it's just a 0. And we're going to bring down our next term. Oops, I didn't want to erase that. I'm going to bring it down. Okay, so now we have plus 16x. Now we repeat steps 1 through 4, so we compare that. So then down here, we go, draw a little squiggly, we go negative 2x squared divided by x. Again, the negative 2 is just going to stay there because we don't have anything that would cancel that. Then this x in the bottom cancels one of the x's in top, so we get a negative 2x. So we put that up here, negative 2x. Now we multiply again. We're just doing the same thing over and over. So we multiply again, we get negative 2x times x gives us negative 2x squared, which is what we want, so that's good. Then we have negative 2x times 2, that's a negative 4 times x. And when we subtract that, and I'm running out of room again, but when we subtract that, here, let me shrink this a little bit. I think I wrote too big. Okay, there we go, I shrank it. Okay, so now when we subtract this, let me turn this back to blue again, we're subtracting all of them, so really, this is like a minus a minus, minus a minus, so we end up with pluses. So then, we're going to add these up. We get negative 2 plus positive 2, that cancels and gives us a 0, so we don't really need to write that. This is 16 and 4, they're added, so that gives us 20x. We're going to bring down this 32, so plus 32. And we start over again. We compare our first two terms, so we have an x and we have a 20x. Well, x goes into 20x 20 times, right? Because if we look at it, we go 20x divided by x. This x cancels with this x, and we're just left with the number 20. So that's kind of good. So, okay, so we go up here. We go, okay, plus 20. Ooh. Okay, now we multiply. So we have 20x. And then we have 20 times 2, so that's 40. Then we subtract it again. Now in this case, they're both added, so when we subtract, that's going to be a minus, and this is going to be a minus, because we're subtracting both of them. These two cancel. We get 32 minus 40 is negative 8. So this is now a number, right? And x won't go into a number evenly, because it would end up being like negative 8 over x. So it ends up being a fraction, so that's no good. We don't want to do that. So this then, we can't really do anything else with it. This is our remainder. So we have a remainder of negative 8. Well, if you have a remainder of anything other than 0, that means that this number was not a factor of this bigger number. So x plus 2 is not a factor of 2x to the 4th plus 3x cubed minus 4x squared plus 16x plus 32, because we didn't get a remainder of 0. So then in our answer, we got to put in that we got a remainder, and it's a minus 8. So we're going to go minus 8 over, and we're gonna underneath here, we're going to put whatever we were dividing by. So this was x plus 2. So then that whole thing up top, this yellow stuff and this minus 8 over x plus 2 is our answer. So that's how we got that. Okay, I think this is a long enough video.